Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Charles Edgar Hampton. Unlike Bill O'Reilly would have you to believe, I don't have a forehead tattoo, and I'm not ill-educated. But what I am is pissed off, and what I am is upset, and what I am is disappointed. So let's talk about why I'm upset. Okay, African American males are getting killed disproportionately. Look in the links, the facts, the data, the science, the statistics are there. It's not up for debate. Okay, just like climate change. Alright, that's why I'm upset. Furthermore, while I'm upset personally, is I work hard. See, I'm finishing up my PhD right now. There are times when I don't see my family. There are times when I don't see my friends. Times when I don't see my significant other. There are times when I don't get to spend as much time with my dog as I want. There are times when I just don't get to relax. But I'm doing so to invest in my future. When my future can be taken away so easily, it makes me think, why bother? I'm an intelligent man. Got 3 degrees. Trying to get a 4th. I owe it to my ancestors who lost hands, fingers, eyes, tongues, and their lives for trying to learn how to read and write and to be educated. I'm investing in a future that may not be there because of racism. And it is up to all of us to fight that. White people, get to know black people. We are not all criminals. We are not all bad. We are not all thugs. Okay? If you ever watch the Boondocks, I'm more probably on the Tom Dubois side. Probably more Huey Newton. I see Huey Newton. Haha. But Huey Freeman. But moving on forward, get to know somebody and expand your reality, because perception is reality. And if you don't challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone and meet new people, you'll never break the stereotype that you have in your head, which is craftily produced by the media. Check out the difference between how black people and white people are portrayed, how they're treated. It is a double standard. Again, facts. You can't deny it. Even Snopes fact-checked it and proved that. So, talk about my disappointment. Black folks. I taught high school for 7.5 years at minority, low-income schools. When I needed you at the PTA meetings, you weren't there. When I needed you at open house, you weren't there. I'm not talking about everybody. Okay, when I needed your kids to come to school with materials, when I needed them to go home and study and not be allowed to watch TV and not be allowed to just tell you school was fine, then y'all let me down. I don't teach anymore, but good God, I miss it. The amount of sacrifice, discipline, self-control, etc. it is taken to get to be where I am, growing up in College Park, Georgia, 30349, going to Banneker High School, to the point that whenever I tell anybody that I graduated from Banneker, their mind is just blown. They cannot believe that, quote, someone like me came out of that kind of environment. So there's a big, massive burden that I carry every single day with me. It is the burden of success. It is the burden of being light-skinned and not considered, truly black. So I get discrimination from black folks as well as from white folks. It's the burden of being gifted, of being smart, of being born into a good family, of being successful. It's the burden of being an outlier, pariah. The whole point of me mentioning all of this is to say, regardless to what's here, regardless to what FICO says, regardless to what my coworkers say, what my advisor says at my university, doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if a racist looks at me the wrong way, I'm dead. I'm a concealed carry holder. My dad hates that. I cannot tell you how many times he'll see that and he'll cringe. He'll say, why do you have to carry that? Why do you need that? Or why do you want to have that on you? And the more these type of things happen, the more you can understand where that fear lies. And the more it becomes not an irrational fear, but thanks to statistics, thanks to cell phones, thanks to mobile cameras, and thanks to the internet, the atrocities, the tragedies, the murder, the brutality, the profiling, all that stuff is a lot more apparent. And what used to seem as though, oh, that's just old school, stuck in their ways. Yo, we're out of the 50s. We're out of the 30s. We're not in the struggle anymore. Oh, we are very much so in the struggle. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things. In the documentary Loose Change, there's a think tank called, I believe, Project for a New American Century. And it says that in order for the nation's defenses to be rebuilt, there needs to be an enemy image. When we were slaves, we had a very clear enemy image. It was the slave master. When slavery was over, and then, you know, the KKK came in, Jim Crow came in, we had a very clear enemy. During the civil rights struggle, when we were trying to get equal access and we were trying to get the right to vote, we had a very clear enemy. After that, we just seem to have lost our way. We still have an enemy. And I'm going to say this because it's true. The enemy is ourselves. This isn't victim blaming. This is common sense, logic, pragmatism. I agree that Black lives matter. And when somebody retorts, all lives matter, what they're really saying is, all lives do matter. But if I have to choose between one of y'all dying and one of us dying, it's going to be one of y'all. Fair. Fair. Because in actuality, we're saying the same thing. To a certain extent. We're saying, can nobody get killed? But if somebody has to get killed, let it be the racist. I used to be a teacher. And as a teacher, once school shootings started to take off, and as I found 2 guns since I've been teaching, I also found a knife of sorts. And I've turned those things in. It became very clear to me. Also, I'm one of the people that break up fights in my school. It became very clear to me that there could be one day where I don't come home. And I accept that. That's fine. I don't let fear guide me when it comes to a situation and I have to protect young people. Because that's why I am a teacher. I'm there to enhance their lives. So when it comes to cops operating in fear, and again, come across guns, I've had to come across and deal with folks that are totally irate and have blood on their minds. I've dealt with people that are totally irrational. I've dealt with people that only want to fight. I've not had someone come at me trying to kill me. But I've definitely had people come at me trying to do me physical and bodily harm. So by no means am I saying that this is a perfect analogy for what police work is. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's an acceptable and there's a known amount of risk with my job, and there's a known amount of risk that comes with police work. The reason that I feel like I needed to say something is because we've seen marching. We've seen protest. We've seen Black Lives Matter. We've seen we in the street, hands up, don't shoot. None of that works. If it did work, things would be different. There would be more indictments. Beyond indictments, there would actually be guilty charges. Nobody's found guilty. Most of the time. We still have to see what happens with the gentleman that shot the guy in the back when he was running away. He didn't have a weapon. He wasn't going to take anybody hostage. And if he did, what is he going to take him hostage with? Like I said, he didn't have a weapon. So the whole notion of, well, he was shot to prevent victimizing of others, it ain't like that. If marching worked, if protests worked, then things would be different, but they are not. What we need to focus on as a people is ourselves. Okay? There's a Booker T. Washington quote in his speech at maybe the Alabama Expo, or maybe it's the Georgia Expo, but some insert state name, Southern Expo or city. And he says, cast down your buckets where you are. We have to pull ourselves up. We have to become the men and women that can say, I'm black and I'm proud. I taught for 7.5 years at low-income minority schools. I know the battles they were facing. I did not have any kids. I don't have kids because we all know what it takes to make kids. Okay? So, I didn't want to bring kids into an unstable relationship and into an environment that I know wasn't going to be good, because I can see the result of that. So rather than me just say, oh man, these kids these days are jacked up, I got out and I did something. We have to pull ourselves up. We have to become the men and women that can say, I'm black and I'm proud. I taught for 7.5 years at low-income minority schools. I know the battles they were facing. I did not have any kids. I don't have kids because we all know what it takes to make kids. Okay? So, I didn't want to bring kids into an unstable relationship and into an environment that I know wasn't going to be good, because I can see the result of that. So rather than me just say, oh man, these kids these days are jacked up, I got out and I did something. Okay? And even still now, my speaking with you and my communication with my former students, my continuing mentorship of them, the fact that some of my students are now teachers and teaching other kids, and they're keeping in mind the lessons and the drivers that drove me, and passing that on and living that out themselves, and then passing that on, like I said, to other youth, and being that second generation Mr. Hampton. Community involvement. Please get involved. You don't necessarily have to change your career, but if that's what you can do, if that's what you need to do, and I'll say that's what you can do, then that's what you should do. And I'll get into that later. Community involvement. Mentor. There's the Boys and Girls Club. There's the YWCA or YMCA. Do something. Get involved with a local religious organization. Do what you can, or if you want to be atheist, that's totally fine. There are some state or secular entities out there that need help. I used to mentor for Upward Bound, and I used to tutor for Upward Bound. There are opportunities out there. But if you don't want to take them, then that's on you. So back when I was saying, if you can do it, you should do it, I live by one principle, which is if you know about something, then you're responsible for it. Our ancestors, in order to get us free, went through all kinds of hell and difficulty. Okay? We got to let go of this, oh, I want to be entertained. Oh, I want it to be easy. Oh, I want it to be simple. Oh, I don't want to read. There's those stereotypes about us, and we're living it out, and it's insane, and it's ridiculous, and it's insulting. Okay? Statistics and generalizations exist because we live them out. Statistics are just collections of individual behaviors. So, if you as an individual are committing crimes, are living as a thug, are allowing your children and your neighbors and those close to you without you saying anything. Now, if you're saying something, if you're trying to make a difference, that's one thing. But if you're not, you're part of the problem. So, moving on forward, getting back to it, Our ancestors went through things that will crush normal people's souls. Like there's this saying that goes that a heavyweight's hook or the punch from a heavyweight champion would break a regular person's neck. Okay? The stresses that they endure are unimaginable. So, for instance, I haven't gone to sleep. Last night I didn't sleep. I stayed up looking up articles, preparing to speak on this because I wanted to speak from a place of informed. Because I wanted to be informed when I spoke. This sacrifice, this one night of sleep that I missed, is nothing in comparison to what my ancestors went through. If we all took a moment to be uncomfortable, we want to talk about getting out of the box and paradigm shift and, switching it up and getting out of your comfort zone. And insanity is the same, the definition, which is doing the same thing and expecting different results. We can't keep marching and not changing our daily behavior and then wondering why we still singing We Shall Overcome. So, Prince, God rest his soul, or the artist formerly known as Prince, the symbol, whatever, had a song with the NPG, Do Power Generation, and he said, I'm willing to do the work. If you want the benefits, you got to do the work. Kevin Hart, one of his specials, he said, everybody want to be famous, but they're not willing to do the work. I'm willing to stay up for my people. I'm willing to research for my people. I'm willing to make sacrifices and not be a consumer all the damn time in order to help my people. And pardon the language, I'm trying to keep it pretty parentally friendly. But considering I'm pretty sure you can hear that word on primetime television on a 9 pay channel, then I should be okay. So, getting back to it, got to do the work, folks. That work is controlling our dollars. What we watch through cable, through satellite, is tracked. And not in a negative way, but they're seeing trends. They're seeing what people are interested in. That's a vote. When you spend money with a restaurant, with an establishment, with a business, that is a vote. That is a condoning. That is a I believe in what you are doing and what you stand for. The same way how the firefighter talked out on Facebook, his personal Facebook page, and is now under investigation, they're going to support theirs. They're going to make their economic policy align up with their social and political agenda. So we need to do the same. Until we do that, they're not going to respect us. But as long as you are willing to stand in line for J's, but not go to parent-teacher conferences, because I've been there, then don't talk to me about Black Lives Matter. Until you are willing to be a better parent, until you are willing to mentor, until you are willing to stand up to your damn child and say, pull your pants up, or if you really think that Black Lives Matter, invest in your local community. Don't just say it. Don't just post something. Don't just get mad. Don't just march. Okay? Actually do something. Okay? By doing something, for instance. What do I mean by doing something? You can simply do something by not spending as much money. Blacks have tons of buying power, but we use it irresponsibly, generally speaking. Okay? You don't need J's. I get it. You want J's. I don't really get it because my parents didn't let me do that kind of stuff growing up. But that's fine. That's somebody's dream. Be responsible with that. Don't do it at the expense of supplemental materials for your kids. Don't do that at the expense of proper food for your kids. Don't do that at the expense of you're trying to stay in a better environment. So that's the first thing. Watch your expenditures, okay? Second thing, get involved with your community. Visit the school. Go to parent-teacher conferences. Surprise your kid at the school. Surprise the teacher at the school. I taught for 7.5 years at minority, low-income schools. We need you there. Trust me, good God, we need you there. Okay? Beyond that, let's say you don't have any kids in school or school's not your thing. YMCA, Boys and Girls Club. There are plenty of organizations. I've said a whole lot, but at this point I'm tired and I want to go to sleep. Like I said, I didn't have a chance to go to sleep last night because I chose to be informed rather than be comfortable. Invest in your community. Invest in your community. Okay. Invest in your community, people. Whether it's through religious organizations, whether it's through Boys and Girls Club, whether it is through YMCA, whatever, Upward Bound, whatever, give back. Even if it's as simple as picking up trash and keeping your neighborhood cleaner. Even if it's telling a young man, just like I told one of the young men I ran across. And I could tell he wasn't living his life right, and I knew he knew it. And that's the thing, nobody called him out on that shit. I said, hey, you know how your little sister loves you, right? He was like, yeah. You know how your little sister looks up to you? Yeah. She thinks you're a great guy, doesn't she? He was like, yeah. Would you want your little sister to date a guy like you? Oh, hell no! It's a disconnect there, bro. You are the example to the younger generation. Next thing, economics. Watch what you do with your money. If my life don't matter, if you as a corporation or as a business owner or as an individual haven't spoken up for me and my people, you don't get my money. You don't have to be that comfortable. You don't have to live that lavishly. As George Carlin said, you spending money you don't have to buy shit that you don't need to impress people that you don't even like. Again, George Carlin, buying shit you don't need with money you don't have to impress people that you don't like. Stop it. Moving on forward. Political action. Get rid of these politicians that aren't actually protecting people, that aren't upholding the law, that aren't being moral. Let them go. Vote them out. And beyond that, vote with your dollars by supporting candidates that do. And that is one of the things I hope to do at some point, probably post-PhD or whatever, is run for office and see what I can do. Because something does have to change. So yes, vote. Yeah, pray. Yeah, do whatever you want to do. But if you don't get involved in your community, if you don't spend your money and invest your money more wisely, and if you don't hold these politicians accountable, then we got plenty more hashtags in our future. Peace and blessings.